Hello, I've got a few things I want to tell you about, little things that make a really big difference to how I proceed, how life is like as a woodcarver. The first thing is this, I'm wearing it now. It's a fingerless glove, or rather it's got 3 fingers missing. You won't see me using this in the videos because I like you to see my hands working, but carving on my own, I very frequently am wearing these sort of gloves. It's a light cotton glove. And the reason I do it is twofold. One is that when I'm carving, it stops my hand rubbing on the wood, and it means that the wood remains clean. I can wash these gloves regularly. Sweat and so on doesn't get on the surface, especially light coloured woods. The other thing is that the carving quite often has very sharp edges, and this hand resting on this wood frequently gets scuffed or torn or whatever. It gets abraded, and you can see in the side of the gloves here that the gloves are taking the impact, so that protects my hands quite a lot. These gloves look a bit grey, and that's really staining. I wash them frequently, but after a while they wear out. So let me just show you how I make a pair. Here it is. This is a very simple gloves. You can buy these at garden centres, at building supplies. Painters use them a lot. Simple cotton glove, fairly big, nice and light, washable. Don't get coloured ones. The dyes tend to come off onto the work, so keep it plain, simple, everyday sort of cotton gloves. And then what you do is you cut off the first 2 fingers and the thumb, not right down to the bottom, but just leaving about ½ an inch, a centimetre or so at the top. So you would cut those off like that, and the thumb. You don't need to cut off the 2 fingers. They're naturally sort of fold into your hand, so you don't use those there. So that's how it works. And what's really good is that these little bits that you cut off here, you can save these, and when you're sanding, you find they protect your fingers quite a lot. So it's worth hanging on to those anyway. So that's my first tip, if you like, my first really good, useful thing to have in the workshop. Gloves for keeping the work clean and protecting your hands. The secondly is, it doesn't look like much, but is this little plastic box. And it's written on here, keepsafe. Slightly nerdy, but it's the permanent one box that I know lives on my bench and in which I put anything I don't want to lose. You might be carving and a bit will fall off or knock off, or there'll be a split, something will break off. And if ever you've spent a long time looking among all the bits on your bench or on the floor for that sort of bit, you'll realise the value of this. The bit goes in there. You could also put in anything that you need for the carving, screws. I had here, here's a piece of wood that I was from another carving, little sliver of wood that I'm using for patching a little wedge, a little crack rather. I'd keep that in there. Anything really, even sawdust that I might be using to patch something. Whatever you don't want to lose goes in there on the bench, and it's kept safe. Great thing, love it. The last thing is I want to show is about clamping on or putting back that bit that's broken off or fallen off. A piece like this, you'd find it very difficult to be able to clamp something on here with an ordinary clamp. It's very difficult with rounded surfaces to get something to fix on. I can't really show you a bit that's broken off because I don't have one, but if I just mock this up for a moment and pretend this is the bit that's broken off. Here's the trick. It's a clamp, a spring clamp made from an old bed spring. You can take a bed spring and you cut it up and you end up with springs of different sizes, quite big ones, even down to quite small ones. I have them in 2 sizes, rather 2 ends. One that I've ground to a point so they actually grip well, and others which are rounded so that it's much less of an impact on the wood surface. So you can stretch this and have it more or less of a spring. You glue your piece and you can see how this spring will neatly pass around anything that's an awkward shape, and you can get in there and glue the thing quite nicely, the little piece quite nicely to the main body. So there you have it, three useful, very useful but small items in my workshop. Fingerless gloves, a keepsafe box, and spring clamps.